Hey everybody, Kelly Engineer here. Welcome to episode 37 of Ragnamod V. In between episodes, I have been a busy bee. I have completed the chicken barn over here, and yeah, I'm not proud of how the interior is, but it's functional. It does look, as plain as it is, it does look exactly like the chicken barn in Ellsworth, Maine, on the outside, but in the inside I have chickens. Chickens of all kinds. Because I was doing 2 chickens each earlier, when I first started doing the chickens, some of the chickens are still only 2 each. I need to make up a third one. But the way this is working is I have 3 roosts, and in the back are item conduits feeding into this ender chest, and every single one of the ender chests is color-coded into what is in them. So if it has a red little pip right here, that means that it's associated with chickens. The way that I've laid out the ender chest is simple enough. Like I said, it starts with a red pip if it's associated with chickens, and then I just go red, red all the way down the line, orange, yellow, lime, green, so on and so forth. Since I have completed all of the chickens, and that means that there are exactly 128. I'll tell a lie. I don't have all of the gem chickens. Where are you, Roost? There you are. I don't have all of the gem chickens. But everything else has been completed, and I ended up exactly with 128, which is why I stopped. But yeah, all of these ender chests are going to go inside the Trellick Tower to be hooked into the ME system. I've partitioned out drives, or I'm going to partition out drives, associated with every single one of the chicken drops. And yeah, it's just going to go all the way through, and those ender chests are going to feed directly into one of my ME drives. Every single one of the floors does have ME drives in it now. And in order to do that, I had to go into mystical agriculture because it was the only easy way to get the Certus course I needed to do that. So I have made 10-10-10 Certus and Fluix crops, but other than that, I haven't broken any further into mystical agriculture. So I think I'm only at 3 plants so far. Yeah, I've only made 3 plants in mystical agriculture so far, but that's perfectly fine. I am interested to get into power in this episode, and yeah, let's get to it. So in order to get into big reactors, the first thing we have to do is we have to complete this power generator quest, which is just requires a solar panel 1. Easy enough. That is planks, mirrors, and redstone. Boom. Got my solar panel 1s. Oh yeah. So after we have unlocked that, may as well just claim this right now. If you go to the power generation, see I have flux networks, which I've already gotten into. Extreme reactors. Now, these basic solar panels, the regular solar panels, solar panel tier 2 all the way over to the tier 17. And then we have, I do not know what the Cygnus producer is. Advanced generators. I have never gotten into advanced generators, so it's something that I'm going to have to learn soon enough. But anyway, we're going to start out with extreme reactors because they're going to be the simplest thing to set up. Reactor casing 57. Oh yeah, that is not nearly enough material. I am going to make a rather large reactor, an 11 by 11 by 11 to start with, and then once I start building the building around it, I'm going to go all the way to the maximum size. The place that I'm going to put them is right here. I've already built out this little bit of a platform, and yeah, it's going to be based very heavily based on the Hitachi Naka Thermal Power Station in Ibaraki, Japan. The reason being is, looking at the building, it's interesting to look at. It has 2 colors on it, but the way that they incorporate the colors is really nice. And it also has 2 towers, a left tower and a right tower. They are connected. But yeah, I'm going to put the big reactor in the left tower, probably advanced generators in the right tower. Somewhere in the front of the building, I'm going to have probably my rainbow generator, anything else that I deem appropriate. But yeah, those 2 towers are going to be for the larger power sources, and yeah, I think it's a really interesting building. It's gonna be fun coming together. The reason why I say heavily based on is I cannot find any dimensions on this building whatsoever, and it's very hard to tell looking at pictures of it of how big this thing actually is. I mean, it's obviously very big, but yeah, I can't actually find any dimensions, so I'm gonna have to play entirely by eye. But that's all well and good. I'm going to start assembling all of the materials I'm going to need for my extreme reactor. Now, since I am going to be starting with an 11 by 11 by 11 reactor, that means I'm going to need 824 casings. So 824 casings require a reactor casing core, and one reactor casing core will make me 4 casings. So what is that going to be? 3.5 stacks of reactor casing cores in order to make this? 1, 2, 3, and yeah, what the heck, we'll make 4 because we're going to need a heck of a lot more in the future. Yeah, now that I have those reactor casing cores, I can make the reactor casings. I've already gone ahead and put in a bunch of graphite and yellorium into the ME system. Yeah, just to make this a little bit easier so I don't have to run back and forth over to my ender chests and remember which ender chest has what. But yeah, here it is. I'm going to make all of the reactor cores that I possibly can. Here we go. Reactor casings. Now, I'm going to have to make more reactor casing cores for, let's see, I don't need a reactor glass. Reactor redstone port, coolant port. Here it is, the reactor controller. Now, the reactor controller, oh wow, the recipe's changed. Okay. Going to require 4 reactor casings, yellorium ingots, a computer screen from RF Tools, an eye of redstone from Extra Utilities, and a comparator from Project Red. Alright. I love it when they change their recipes. But all this stuff should be absolutely no problem to make whatsoever. Let's just type in reactor. Oh yeah, another thing. If you're looking at the extreme reactors related stuff, if you try to type in extreme, nothing will show up. Well, that's because the mod ID is actually big reactors. So if you want to have it show up in JEI, or if you want to have it show up in AE2, you actually have to type in big for it to show up properly. Now, I profess I've never messed with anything in Project Red, but it doesn't really seem that hard. I just have to throw some stone into a smelter, make some circuit plates. Alright, yeah, that's easy enough. Alright, here we are, a comparator from Project Red, and the reactor controller from Extreme Reactors. So now that I have that, I'm going to need to make 41 control rods. And the reactor fuel rods are right here, and they require graphite, yellorium, glass of any type, which I actually may be short on, but no problem. And I'm going to need... Oh, my mistake. I'm sorry. I need the control rods, not the actual fuel rods themselves. Alright. Yeah, 41 of the control rods. Reactor casings, graphite, pistons. Alright. There we are. This is everything that I'm going to need, and I have more reactor casings and reactor fuel rods than I need, but I have exactly as many control rods as I need. So I'm going to go assemble this thing over on the lawn, and yeah, then we can focus on the arduous task of making the coolant. And here is the first floor of the reactor complete. I put diamond blocks in here because they're going to be my primary coolant, and I'm going to use gelid cryothium or resin and ender, I'm not sure which one yet, as my secondary coolant, and there is a whole table on them. I usually interchange depending on what's easier to make per pack, so that's why I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. But the diamonds I'm definitely going to use because I have very easy access to diamond, and the gelid cryothium and resin and ender they're a fluid with gravity, which means trying to input them into a reactor of this size is pretty difficult, so a placeable block works just fine for me. Yeah, I'm going to continue to build this up, and oh yeah, I didn't mention, I said it was an 11 by 11 reactor earlier, and that is technically true, but the walls themselves are actually a block out. I'm using a big reactor simulator, and I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, the big reactor simulator only calculates what the inside of the reactor is, so the inside is 11 by 11 by 11. And other than that, yeah, it's all pretty simple stuff. So the reactor is finished, and it's gaudy looking right now. I put this reactor glass in here just so I could see the yellorium filling into the rods, but if I had to do it differently, I'd move the reactor glass all the way to the top and leave this 2 blocks on either side. But yeah, just having a 7 by 7 is, yeah, it's not very good to look at. But anyway, I do have the reactor turned on right now, and I'm generating 64.5. Yeah, 64.6. Yeah. 64,500 RF per tick, going through 0.60 millibuckets per tick of my fuel, and that is perfectly fine because I am generating more yellorium through the chickens than I'm expending. Yeah, I've had this thing on for, I don't know, 10 minutes already, and I've only generated 5 cyanide ingots, so I'm doing pretty good for myself. The rods are at, what, 75% right now? 77% right now. And yeah, it's producing me a decent amount of RF per tick, more than enough to run my ME system, which is what I'm going to tie it into next. What I've got in my inventory is a flux plug. And yeah, now that I attach it to the redstone flux power tap, all I'm going to do is create a brand new network. Create new network, and we're just going to call it ME system. There we go. Color of Yellorium, no password. I'm not going to encrypt it or anything. And energy type, redstone flux, create. Now that we have the ME system over here, it is not connected. Select a network, ME system. There we go. Now it is colored yellow. It is tied into the system. We're going to go over to storage. Down here at the bottom, already have my dense ME cell and energy acceptor. I do not need the dense energy cell, but I figured, why not? So, got that here. Now that I have the flux point, I can select the network, ME system, and there we go. Power is now going in, and wow, power flowed in very, very quickly. There is no limit on my flux network, thankfully. But let's see how power is doing. I shut this down, power it back up. Oh wow, it took over half of it immediately to fill up that dense energy cell. Yeah, I am pretty happy with this, and doesn't look like too much is happening. I want to see what my typical output is. Oh, I am inputting more than I'm outputting, so this is perfect. I'm going to mess with my I'm going to mess with my control rods a little bit more until I have the perfect ratio of how much energy I am taking for the ME system. I just want to save on Yellorium and keep myself from generating too much cyanite. Yeah, I'm going to mess around with this, and then we're finally going to get into the ME system, the second part of this episode. Now, in order to get the ball rolling with Applied Energistics, I'm going to need auto-crafting. So I'm making these crafting units right now. There we go. So I'm making the crafting units right now because I'm going to set up auto-crafting for, let's see here, pistons, sticky pistons, annihilation cores, destruction cores, the molecular assemblers. Yeah, pretty much everything that I'm going to need in order to get my entire ME system up to snuff because, oh man, it's a lot of stuff. I'm also going to tie in all of my advanced subscribers into the main portion of the building as well. Basically, by the time I start the next episode, I want to tear down this entire platform and have my entire base of operations actually be at the storage center. I have hooked in everything, at least for the first 2 floors. Yeah, I've hooked in all of the ME drives. So that is going to be red, orange, yellow, and lime. And, yeah, they're all hooked in with the point-to-point tunnels. I'm not worried about that anymore, thankfully. But yeah, I'm going to start making all of my auto-crafting stuff and putting it on the other side of the Trellick Tower. And here is my beginner setup. And, oh man, I have a lot of work to do before this is actually serviceable. But at the very least, I have my crafting coprocessors and my molecular assemblers hooked up to the main system. Storage, here we are. Yeah, I have them hooked up to the main system down here using a cyan and light blue line. So I'm very happy with that. Man, I should have actually gone over before I transported over here. There we go. So yeah, what I've done here is I have these ME dense smart cables coming up here and attached via interfaces on each side to the molecular assemblers, and I had to use anchors in between each one to keep them from connecting because I wanted to use as few lines as possible. So I used the transport blue line, which is not using it, it's only using the channel it takes to actually get here. This is only one channel. And then once it connects to here, it is connected to all 8 of my molecular assemblers. And yeah, I'm very lucky with that. I'm pretty happy with it. The other one I have is a 4K crafting storage, 16K, and another 4K. So since these two 16Ks are here, it's essentially a 32K. The crafting coprocessors just help it so I can queue up items. So it's not just I can only do 3 items at once. It'll actually queue things depending on how many how many bytes of data I need in order to autocraft stuff. So I'm going to go assemble the proper terminals and patterns in order to get this process started. So yeah, bear with me for a moment. Here we are. I have set up an ME pattern terminal, and I've already created 64 blank patterns, and Lord, that is not going to be nearly enough. But this is going to get me started so I can just start auto-crafting everything that I'm going to need to build this. Oh, that is the wrong position for that. But in order to build this ME system to its potential glory. So right now I just put in this piston. Going to encode this pattern. I'm going to do the same thing with a, I'm going to do the same thing with a regular piston. Here we go, and piston. So now with these two patterns right here, I can go over to all of my molecular assemblers and go into each of the interfaces and just plop in my two patterns. So these patterns are now in here, which means I have the ability, if stuff is inside the ME system, which nothing is inside the ME system, I have the ability to craft pistons and sticky pistons. If I wanted to craft, say, 100, then of course it's missing all of this stuff, and crafting CPU is automatic, so this is just a simulation. But I want to go grab all of the necessary materials in order to craft up all this stuff to show you how all the CPU stuff works. Alright, I have the necessary planks and the necessary cobblestone, but I cannot put them inside my ME system because I have not assembled a drive right now. I've not assembled a drive that can hold wood or cobblestone. So if you do not have, the way that I have everything configured over here, and I've been trying to fill up all of these, but the way that I have everything configured is every single one of these is partitioned. I mentioned this before. So since they are all partitioned and I don't have a 16K ME storage cell that could just accept whatever, then that means that that item cannot go in there. And that's exactly what I'm going for when I design this ME system, is one drive or one storage cell can only hold one item. So I need to assemble 16K ME storage cells for wood planks and cobblestone. And after that, I can actually start the auto crafting. Alright, so in this ME drive right here, I'm going to put my cobblestone, and right here is going to be my planks. So, oh no, is it not hooked up? It is not hooked up. Let's figure out why that is. Alright, wow, okay, I don't know what the heck I was thinking. ME storage buses right here should not be here. Yeah, the ME storage buses were supposed to be there when I was still doing storage drawers, so I must have not gotten rid of them. I don't have any of my tools on them. But yeah, since, I guess this is a good talking point as any, since I have these storage buses here, then that means that they are not connected to my storage system as an ME drive, as a storage cell. The best that I can do is go over here. If I look in my ME storage system, those two drives that I just put in there are now something that I can remove from my system. And yeah, that's because it's hooked up with the storage bus. I messed up. So I have to go fix that real quick. And yeah, my bad. And there we go. Everything is hooked up as it should be. I have removed all of the storage buses from the second floor. I still need to do all of the remaining floors. But regardless, I'm going to put in my cobblestone and put in my planks. And I'm going to craft myself 64 pistons. Now, here in this crafting plan, it's just going to show you what it's going to craft and what it's going to need in order to do that. So, the crafting CPU, I can use any one that I want. I can choose to name them as well. I'll go over that later. But yeah, I'm going to just have it be automatic, and whichever one's available is what is going to be used. If I did choose to use a crafting CPU, then you'll see that I have 32,760 bytes with 2 coprocessors. That is the middle auto crafting station that I showed you a couple clips ago. But then I have these ones, which are exactly the same, so the 4096s. And this isn't going to use very many bytes, just 752. So yeah, I'm going to start this up. Now, as it starts to craft these things... Ooh, did it get caught? No, it took all of the items, but it has not crafted. It recognizes that there are 2 patterns inside my interface terminal, but I need to figure out what is keeping these. All of the molecular assemblers are connected. It's crafting 1. So yeah, here's the crafting status of my 4K crafting storage, and it is not going through. What did I do wrong? It has been a very long time. I figured out what the problem was. When I put the ME interfaces on both sides of this, it was actually causing a conflict. No power was getting to my molecular assembler, and now it is crafting just fine. Here we go. And now these two are. So if you do decide to have this type of setup, only have the ME interfaces on one side and have the power be supplied by another. But yeah, these are absolutely crafting up the pistons I want. Why did I just go to the basement? Alright, it is absolutely crafting the pistons that I want. All 64 have been crafted, and that is auto-crafting. Now we've got to complete the task of hooking in all of the chicken ender chests into the ME system so that they go into their proper ME drives. And you'd think it would be just as easy as putting down a dense cable and running it all the way up. But unfortunately, it is not that simple because, unfortunately, ME import buses will not connect to dense cable. If you want an ME import bus to connect, you're going to need the smaller cables, the covered cables, and then your import bus will connect. Complicated even more by the fact that if I connect an ender chest to it, you see I'm using one channel just because of this import bus. It is taking stuff and it is importing it into the ME system, but yeah, I don't have nearly enough cable. I don't have nearly enough resources to do it all of that way, so I have an even better solution. And when I say better, I mean complicated and convoluted. I have every single one of my ender chests here, ender chests that are attached to the chicken barn, I mean. And yeah, they all have item conduits attached to them. The item conduits are going into these ender chests with a green pip, denoting that it is going to be connected directly to the ME system, and then import buses on the other side. The import buses have acceleration cards inside them, and I have not actually set all of these to extract yet because I don't have all of the ME drives hooked up to facilitate all of these items. I also am going to have to make some... I'm also going to have to make some speed cards for the conduits as well. Oh, that's a lot of pistons. But that is the reason why I added pistons to my auto crafting, is because I knew I was going to need a lot of these. But yeah, with that, I'm ready to close out the episode. In between episodes, I'm going to continue making ME drives, hook them into the normal area. Hook them into the normal area on the first floor and the second floor. And after all of that is tied in, I'm going to enable my ender chests that are sitting over there in the middle portion of the tower and set up some more auto crafting stations, really. So yeah, it's a busy in between episodes. Next episode, we're going to actually take all of my Ender IO stuff that I have inside the factory over here, but all of these Ender IO machines are going to be hooked into the ME system next episode. I'm going to show how to attach an interface to them and how to actually assemble those different those recipes, because the recipes are different for stuff like the alloy smelter. But yeah, with that, I'm Kelly Engineering, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.